Hello, welcome back to the channel Tarot Yogi. I'm Vinit, and today we have an extra special Black Mirror Scrying reading. And today's reading is really special because it's a collaboration between Sarah from Wonderland and me. And she's going to be looking at Alice's messages through Wonderland, and I'm going to be looking at Alice's messages through the looking glass using my Black Mirror to scry. So definitely do go head over to Sarah's channel. She's incredibly talented and a dear friend. So go show her lots of love, go support her, go show her lots of love, let her know you came from Tarot Yogi. And I'm also offering a tarot course starting in September 13th. So if you are interested in learning tarot from me, definitely do send me an email. My email is given in the description box below, and so is Sarah's video link to her channel. Having said all that, we have 3 piles to choose from. Pile number 1, we have the High Priestess. Pile number 2, we have Strength. And pile number 3, we have the Tower. So again, take a minute, see what pile is being called to you intuitively. The description box below will have the timestamp for your pile. And again, remember, these are general readings, so please take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you like my style of reading, please like this video, share, subscribe, comment. It means a lot. It helps the channel grow. And if you want to reach out for a private reading, you can definitely do that. My email ID and my Instagram handle are given in the description box below. So you can definitely reach out for a private reading, and I'll see you guys in your next reading. Thank you. Hello, pile number 1. If you chose the High Priestess card, this is your Black Mirror Scrying reading on Alice's messages for you through the looking glass. And I'm going to be using a black mirror to do this reading. And this is a collaboration between Sarah from Wonderland and me. And Sarah is going to be looking at Alice's adventures in the Wonderland, and I'm going to be looking at what messages does Alice have for us through the looking glass. And before we jump into the reading, I just want to say that I'm going to be teaching a tarot course starting September. So if you want to learn tarot, you can definitely join the course. And you chose the High Priestess card, so come on, so you can definitely reach out on my email and my Instagram, which is given in the description box below. And I will also leave a link to Sarah's reading. So definitely do go head over to her channel, go show her lots of love. And having said that, just give me a minute and we'll get to channel it. So it's very interesting. You chose the High Priestess card, and this is from the Alice in the Wonderland deck. So, and this is the first chapter of Alice's journey through the looking glass, where she's just seemingly letting go of her rationality and her way of looking at the world from a very objective point of view, and she's really giving into her intuition, we could say that, but she's also realizing that there is something more, and she doesn't know exactly what, but there is an inquisition. And High Priestess is a very self-contained card. High Priestess does not need people need the High Priestess, right? Pile number 1. So there are a lot of messages over here that we will be getting into. And what I feel over here is when Alice is looking through the looking glass, which is basically a mirror, she's seeing her higher self. So I do think, in a way, I don't think you're extremely spiritual, pile number 1, but I think you are curious. I think you do want to know that what is the more that there is to life, right? And there is this need to inquire about the unknown, and not be so comfortable about it, right? You really want to go in and find parts of yourself. So I really think that is basically the message over here for you. And I also think your higher self is trying to communicate with you. So again, we'll channel with the black mirror and see what messages do we have. Okay, so I'm seeing a white dot right away on the black mirror, pile number 1, and I do feel this is a call back to your innocence. This is a call back to, like I said, retrieving parts of yourself that you've had to let go. And I do think there's an emphasis over here on your childhood, because I'm seeing a kid now. So I do feel there are certain memories that you have repressed from your childhood that are maybe manifesting in ways in which they're becoming difficult lessons for you. And I think everything is sort of pushing you towards letting go of material life in a way. And I'm not saying to completely renounce material life, but to look beyond it, to genuinely look beyond the 3D over here. And I think if you resist this, I do think if you resist this, I do think if you resist this, pile number one, there will be more of a push for you to inevitably look for answers and look for answers within. So there's a real emphasis on you spending a lot of time alone. And I know a lot of y'all work, but find that time for yourself. Even minimum, I would say 20 to 30 minutes you need by yourself, where you're just able to be in touch with yourself. And that will again help you, I think, by number one. I think you truly need the counsel of your higher self right now. And I do think your higher self is also speaking to you. But I don't think you're clearly listening. And how to clearly listen, by number one, it's really simple. It's to do nothing. It is to be still. High Priestess has the message of stillness. She goes inwards, and she goes inwards through the duality of life. So understand that you are exactly where you need to be, by number one, and the circumstances that you are in is exactly what you need to germinate to become the most beautiful flower that you are over here. Pile number one. And if I remember correctly, there's a part in the story of Looking Glass where Alice is speaking to the rose and the tiger lily, and I think there's also a part in Alice in Wonderland where she's also speaking to the flowers, and the flowers are not being so nice to her. So definitely go check out Sarah's reading. I think she would have something to say on that. But I'm also seeing a lot of flowers over here, and there's a real need for you to understand that, like I said, you are exactly in the situation that you need to become the best version of yourself and bloom to your full capacity. So again, pile number one, I think there needs to be more self-analysis, there needs to be more self-study, and that definitely needs to be more of a need to check in with yourself and honestly even develop a spiritual practice for yourself that resonates with you. It could be just anything, right? But understand that you are being called right now to go on a journey. And what you will find, only you will be able to find, pile number one. I cannot tell you that. And with the high priestess, there is a level of secrecy, right? She's not going to give you the answers, not easily. Pile number one, she will test you. High priestess will test you. She's not motherly like the empress. She's the high priestess, right? So, okay, what I can give you as a spoiler over here, pile number one, is, and I'm not trying to scare you, but there's a lot of pomegranates on this card as well. And yes, pomegranates are related to Persephone, but they're also related to Mary and Mother Mary in Christian mythology. So again, it's not just the message from the underworld, but it is also a message of sacrifice, rebirth, and resurrection. So I think what you need to be aware of right now is maybe what is being called of you right now is a sacrifice of your own ego. And it's not nice, it's not fun, but if you have to truly come to yourself at a higher level, something needs to give. And we have to give before we can get something, right? So there's a real message of maybe even taking a moment and really seeing your life for the way it is right now, because it's not going to look the same in the near future if you really choose to grow in the way you are being called to grow right now. And again, with this high priestess energy, I'm getting that. With the high priestess energy, I'm getting that it's almost like you will almost be ostracized in a way, and in a way where people are not really understanding you, so you have no choice but to really go inwards and understand yourself. And if there is this need and desperation to want to be understood by others, it simply means that you're not ready to understand yourself, I number one. And sacrifices are painful, but yet it is what is needed. It is what is required to again progress. So again, I'm not going to sugarcoat this message, but I don't even feel I need to sugarcoat this message because it's not, it's a harsh message, but it's not, the harshness is leading to healing over here, pile number one. And you know you cannot keep going on in circles the way you have been, right? You know you cannot just keep doing your life the way you have been doing, and you know you want more, and you don't know exactly what it is, and you can only go inwards and find that out, and yet walk the path. So I think the message over here is to walk the path, even if nothing is very clear to you right now. You know, even if you can't see the destination, even if you can just see one step ahead, you have to take it, and you have to not even trust, because High Priestess is about inner knowing. So you just have to know that you're going in the right direction over here. And like I said, you know, High Priestess will not give you answers easily. So it is a test, pile number one. And I think the more you allow yourself to progress on this path, there will definitely be rewards, but there will also be genuine happiness that is going to be more everlasting than other kinds of happiness, right? Pile number one. So please understand this. But there's a clear message over here for you to move out of your materiality and to move out of your 3D view of the world and understand that there is something more. And in just you going on that discovery, you will be forever changed. And it is what is needed, but it is okay to even miss yourself. But right now, you really have to sort of throw yourself into the metaphorical fire over here to be sacrificed so you can be reborn over here in this very lifetime, right? Pile number one. So are you going to continue doing what you have always been doing, or are you going to chase after the something more that you always knew you wanted and just had like this unexplainable deep desire to go after it? So I really think you need to take charge of your life and do what needs to be done, and still give yourself enough time to introspect and come to your own conclusions, because there's a real emphasis over here on self-analysis and self-study, I would say, pile number one. So you really need to go inwards. And if people are not understanding you right now, they better leave you alone. And you better walk away from them, because attachments are not going to serve you in any kind of a way, whether they be emotional, whether they be your friends, whether this be love, whatever it is, pile number one. A bit of a journey that I see ahead for you, no matter how many people you have around you, you have to walk it alone. And that's not a bad thing. And that's what you need to understand. And know that even if you don't reach the destination that you're trying to reach, you will reach somewhere better as a result of you trusting yourself and wanting to know yourself and just moving towards the right thing and doing the right thing over here, pile number one. So I would say you are very much in alignment, in fact. So don't doubt yourself. And I do think life is extra difficult right now because it is teaching you how to trust your intuition. It's not easy to trust your intuition, right? It's very easy to give into the mind. It's very easy to give into all the possibilities of things not working out, but it is very threatening to even visualize the possibility of things working out for the better, right? So come out of the trauma, pile number one. You can shed it. You can transform it in the fire. And I think that is the message over here. And would Alice have gone through the looking glass if she knew that she would be forever changed? Maybe not, but she did, you know? So the message over here is to not be stuck in the same place you are, because what's the point of living like that, right? Pile number one. And understand that you do have purpose, and you will often even create your own purpose, and that's okay, you know? You really just have to, if I have to simplify the reading, I would just say you have to get quiet enough and still enough to listen to your inner compass. And the best way to do it, my advice would be to meditate. Simple breathing meditation where you're just watching your breath. Nothing complicated. Just count your breathing and be with yourself. and make it a daily practice. Even do it multiple times a day if you enjoy it that much. But at least doing it once a day, sitting with yourself, is going to give you the answers, and the answers are not going to come from outside. The answers are not going to come from watching 10,000 tarot readings. Pile number one. So understand that. Yeah. Now I'm seeing a knight being victorious over a battlefield. So even if you have to go against an army of hundreds, you are powerful enough to slay them all. Pile number one. So please understand that as well. And all of this is a part of, your character development, right? It's a part of the plot. You cannot you cannot fast forward any of this. Pile number one. So please understand that as well. And I just feel at the beginning of the reading, I was having a bit of difficulty talking. And now I just feel I'm flowing with the reading. So, no, it is darkest before the dawn. It takes you a while to perfect something. It takes you a while to even just get used to something, right? Pile number one. So, give yourself the grace that you really need right now. And don't make your life more difficult than it needs to be. Right now, you have to become your best friend. Right now, you cannot be at odds with yourself. And if it takes a little work, if it takes a little self inquiry, do it. Enjoy being in your high priestess energy. Even if you're a man, learn to be in your high priestess energy. It will help you. Ask yourself, what do you truly want? Ask yourself that over and over again. What do you truly want? Pile number one. And my vision is going blank. Yeah. So that's all I have for pile number one. Again, it's a general reading. Please take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you like my style of reading, please like this video, share, subscribe, comment. It means a lot. It helps the channel grow. And if you want to reach out for a private reading, you can definitely do that. My email ID and my Instagram handle are given in the description box below. So you can definitely reach out for a private reading or the tarot course that I will be teaching in September. And definitely do go head over to Sarah's channel. Go show her lots of love. Let her know you came from Tarot Yogi. And I will see you guys in your next reading. Thank you. Hello, pile number two. If you chose the Strength card, this is your Black Mirror Scrying reading on Alice's messages through the Looking Glass. And this is a collaboration between Sarah from Wonderland and me, where she's going to be looking at Alice's messages from Wonderland, and I'm going to be looking at Alice's messages to the Looking Glass. So definitely do go head over to her channel. I will leave a link to her video in the description box below. Definitely do go head over to her channel. Go show her lots of love. Let her know you came from Tarot Yogi. And I'm also offering a tarot course starting September 13th. So if you are interested in learning tarot, definitely sign up to learn tarot from me. And having said that, let's jump into the reading on what message does Alice have for us through the Looking Glass. And you chose Arcanum 8 Strength. And it's a very interesting strength card, I would say. Here we have Alice going through a very dark forest to get to her goal, and she meets a fawn. And the tricky thing about this forest is everyone who enters the forest forgets their name. And we know how important names are, right? We have names of gods and goddesses, we have names of diseases, we have names of mental illness. So categorization is very, very important. And I do think you are feeling a little lost. And I think you're also maybe realizing that maybe the only thing permanent about your personal identity is the fact that it is always shifting. And that is just the nature of reality. Everything is impermanent, including our own identity. Pile number two, and I know this hits very deep, and this is not a very fun phase to be in, especially walking through the forest alone. And I really think the fawn over here represents your inner child in a way. I think it also represents parts of yourself that you've in a way sacrificed, right? Because fawn is often a prey, and even though they're very close, when the fawn gets out of the forest and learns about itself and learns that it gets attacked by humans, it gets scared. So I think you need to understand that it is only natural to have human reaction to adversities of life, and it is okay. And it is also completely fine to feel scared and understand that if you are in situations where you're getting a lot of hostility, because I do feel you are, I think you do feel very alone. I do think you feel as if you don't have anyone to trust. You do feel a bit like deer in the headlights right now, and there's a lot of confusion. But the only way for you to rise above it is by realizing who you are. I think the whole point of walking through the forest of no name is is coming back to yourself at a more pure level, at a more innocent level. And when it comes to hostilities of other people, because I do think there is something like that in your life, understand that you don't have to tolerate people, but you have to, in a way, learn to accept them. And understand that you are not normal. I don't think your life circumstances have been anything normal. So you're not going to have a normal future, and that's not a bad thing. You know, it's going to be specially tailored and designed for you and the kind of a person you are by number two. So I think you also need to segregate the fact that you're not like most people, and maybe you're single, maybe you're not with someone, maybe you don't have kids yet, and maybe you will have those things in the future, but you need to understand that your life purpose is more than just being in love and being happy. So I don't think your soul is necessarily young. I do think you have a bit of an old soul, and there's a weariness over here, right? And I've been just channeling with the card, but we'll channel with the black mirror now, so just give me a minute. Okay, by number two, what I'm noticing right away on the black mirror is the darker black spots, which does feel like holes to the abyss. And transitional phases are not comfortable. They aren't, right? And shamanistically, what is happening is you're traveling to the underworld to be ripped apart, to completely dissolve your ego, so you become light enough to ascend up to the heavens, so you can come back on earth and share your wisdom. So understand that all of y'all in pile number two, I know a lot of y'all do different things, but all of y'all are walking your own destined path, and your path is not going to look like other people's paths, and you have to truly deeply accept that and be at peace with it. Because only when you are at peace with it can you truly move through this forest. In a way, I do think what is happening is you're being forced to lose yourself. There's a real need of dissolving your identity. There's a real need for you to dissolve your ego and to look a little deeper than you had before and understand you have the strength and the ability to even go a little deeper within yourself than you maybe in respected the last time. Pile number two. So please understand this. Okay, pile number two. I'm hearing that song by Janelle Monáe where I think it's called Pink, where she's singing "Getting Lost in the Dark" is my favorite part. So I'm getting a number of messages with that. I think you have to understand that if you're getting lost, it is only helping you come back to yourself. It is helping you come back home. And don't run away from the darkness. If there are certain things that are coming up, address it. There's a need for you to even have some solitude. And for a lot of y'all in this pile, I would maybe recommend you to go for a walk alone at night, but please be safe. I think you will be able to assimilate your inner darkness in a way where it's not going to be so much of a hindrance. You will truly know who you are at a very core level. So even if you are in a very hostile environment, even if you are dealing with less than ideal situations, you will be able to thrive still. Pile number one, pile number two, and I was going to say pile number two, but I said pile number one. So you might have some messages in pile number one as well. But understand that this is not the time for you to grip at things. This is not the time for you to even keep your ego preserved. You really need to dissolve it. And no matter how scary it feels, the only way for you to even land safely is to firstly jump, right? And again, I think you're being forced by number two. I think you're being forced to really remember who you are. And I think once you remember who you are, I think your life situation will completely change. I know that's very bold for me to say, but I really feel that that is the message. And I feel very confident about the fact that if you believe in yourself all the time and enough, you can make permanent changes that are for the better. No matter how far gone you are, right? By number two, no matter how much have people forsaken you, but you need to understand that you will be able to rise again and be who you want to be and take charge. But for now, to get out of this situation that you are in, the sacrifice has to be you. It has to be your ego. Don't resist the ego death by number two. Because if you do, in a way, you will keep yourself in the darkness, you will keep yourself in the ignorance, and ignorance is not bliss. Have you ever seen an ignorant person being truly happy? They're not happy. So learn to honor yourself by number two. Understand the kind of a person you are and what a rarity that is. And I'm not just saying this to stroke your ego in any sort of a way. In fact, I want you to dissolve your ego. But just understand how special you are. What an exotic flower you are, pile number two. And don't underestimate your own value, the things you have to give. So even charge people properly if you have your own business over here. And for a lot of y'all, I do think you are in this energy of trailblazing, of just following your own path, creating what you want, really entrepreneurial, really in your own lane, pile number two. And if you just allow those difficult moments to pass, you realize how truly resilient you are and how no matter how difficult things get, you can bend but you never break. And that is a superpower that you have, your resilience, pile number two. You will be able to keep up with the momentum of the changing tides that our lives bring, right? Pile number two. So please understand this. Understand your own personal magic and understand that everything is happening right now for you to understand your own personal magic so you can honestly get your reality to warp around you the way you need it to. And I do think you're very protected right now, even if you don't feel you are. So understand that you still have a long way to go. There's so much that needs to be done at your end. And I'm getting this worker energy, so you could have prominent Virgo placements, or your North Node could be in Virgo, or I'm even getting Mars in Virgo over here. So there is this worker energy, there's this sixth house energy of daily activities, habits, things that you're cultivating on a daily basis. And learning to be present with that, learning to hold space for that and maintain that. Because again, the fire that creates is very different from the fire that sustains, by number two. And understand that you sort of have to fuel the fire that sustains, not just the fire that creates. That needs more fuel, right? And it needs more carefully channeled fuel, right? You cannot combust all the fuel right away. It has to keep up at the same rate of burning throughout. So there's a message over here of sustenance for you and really building things from ground up, no matter how much time it takes, because that's going to be more rewarding for you than riding other people's coattails or waves over here, pile number two. So you're truly meant to do something of your own. And at the right time, people will take notice. So just keep at it. I think that's the message. I do think your manifestation abilities are very, very strong. I do think you have a great ability to manifest. But again, the trick over here is to manifest things that you truly need, especially for your own soul's growth, and not always manifest your desires that aren't exactly the best for you. So I do think you're also being forced to maybe eliminate unhealthy patterns, whether it could be habits, ways of thinking, whatever it is. Throw it all into the fire, pile number two. You don't need it anymore. It's like you have to shed your old, you have to share your, you have to shed your old armor. Until you put on a new one, you're allowed to be vulnerable. And in that vulnerability, you will find your freedom, pile number two. So please understand that. I'm seeing a spider, and I've been seeing a lot of spiders lately, especially in unusual places. And spiders, they create webs all by themselves. They don't care about validation, they don't care about other people viewing how beautiful the web is. They put so much energy into the web because that's their home. Pile number two. So I do think you're creating your own kingdom right now. So take as much time as you need to meticulously place every brick of the foundation because this is all yours. And yes, it's a good and a bad thing that no one will be able to come to help you because this is your fight alone. But it is what it is. So you cannot keep waiting for others, clearly. You have your own kingdom to build over here. So if you're being forced to step more in your Martian energy, do it. I think that's also a message over here. Don't freeze when it comes to taking necessary action for your growth. Even if it is just doing the most unusual thing, even if you have to go against the tides, even if you have to go against people, do it. It will be very rewarding for you if you believe in yourself enough. I'm hearing don't go gently into the night. And I never really liked that poem because I don't think by the time that we're close to death, we should fight. I think death has to be a more of a sweet feeling. It cannot be a feeling of battle, at least at dying, because there has to be an acceptance, right? That's how we get moksha, not by fighting. So I don't even know why I'm talking about that. But in a way, what you're experiencing is a metaphoric death, right? Things will be changed forever. And it's okay to take a minute to even remember things, to visually capture how things maybe look in your life right now, because I do think things will look very, very different in the near future for you, pile number two. So are you going to walk the path that is more difficult, that only gets a little darker as you go a little more ahead, where you lose yourself, but that is what truly helps you find yourself? There is a feeling of going underground. So definitely do check out Sarah's reading. I think she would have something very interesting to say. But I think what is truly tugging at you, or what is even manifesting externally as hostility, is again things you haven't been paying attention about your own life. So I think the cheat code over here is to completely surrender. It's decapitation of the intellect and moving and taking action more intuitively, which is again easier said than done, right? Because it is so easy to give in to the fear, but you chose the strength card by number two. So are you going to tap into reserves of strength that you didn't even know you had, or you're not going to fight at all? I think only you can decide that for yourself. And my vision is going blank. Yeah. That's all I have for pile number two. Again, it's a general reading, so please take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you like my style of reading, please like this video, share, subscribe, comment. It means a lot to help the channel grow. And if you want to reach out for a private reading, you can definitely do that. My email ID and my Instagram handle are given in the description box. below, and I'm also offering a tarot course starting September. So if you want to join, you can definitely email me to find more details, and definitely do go head over to Sarah's channel where she's covering Alice's messages from Wonderland. Definitely do go head over to her channel, go show her lots of love, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose the Tower card, this is your reading on Alice's messages through the looking glass, and this is going to be a Black Mirror scrying reading. And this is a collaboration between Sarah from Wonderland and me, where she's going to be looking at Alice's messages through Wonderland, and I'm going to be looking through the looking glass, which is my Black Mirror. And definitely do go head over to her channel. I will leave a link to her video in the description box below. Go head over to her channel, go show her lots of love. Let her know you came from Tarot Yogi. And even before we get into the reading, I just want to say that I'm going to be offering a tarot course starting September 13th. So if you are interested in learning tarot from me, you can definitely send me an email. My details are given in the description box below. Having said all that, let's jump into the reading on Alice's messages through the looking glass. And you chose a very interesting card. You chose the Tower card, everyone's favorite card in the tarot, right? So I think the message is very clear over here, pile number 3. Whatever you're doing, you have been doing it for a very long time. You have invested a lot of energy, time, money, effort, identity, everything into creating this big structure that seems to be obsolete now. And you know you're sort of in the last days of that structure because things are going to fall apart. And if you don't pull the plug over here, someone else will. And understand that if there is a lot of chaos in your life right now, it is exactly what you need to make the necessary kind of transformation and change in your life. And even what I can definitely say is more the chaos, better the transformation. You know, point number 3. So, yes, you have spent way too much time maybe being with a person. Maybe you spent way too much time on a shitty career. Maybe you've spent too much time on things that are not resonating with you anymore. And what you need to do is completely cut it out from the root so you can sow in something better for yourself. And transformations are not fun, transformations are not pleasant, right? It is you really allowing yourself to be, in a way, burnt alive, metaphorically, and being reduced to ash to be again reborn at a higher level within yourself, at a more powerful level, yet at a more innocent level within yourself. Pile number 3. And you know certain structures are just not working out for you. You know you cannot keep pushing yourself the way you have been. So I think it's only a matter of time. If you're trying to preserve things, it is going to fall apart regardless. But for a lot of y'all, I do see that you want change. So know the change is coming for you, pile number 3. I would definitely say that. Yeah. Let's channel with the mirror now. I'm seeing a lot of fire right away, pile number 3. So baptism through fire is not fun, right? Like I said, it's like you're being set alight. It is painful, but it is what is required for your soul's growth, for your soul's evolution, for truly coming into your own being in a way you have never done before. And I'm seeing a swordsman right now, and I do think that is maybe highlighting your own personal power. And you're realizing that you don't actually need other people right now. You're truly complete within yourself, and maybe you need to end this journey and go on a new one. And it won't take away the meaning from the journey that you have been on already. In fact, you can take all this knowledge now and move towards a new direction, a new path of your own liking, of your own choosing. You don't have to play other people's games anymore. Pile number three. You really don't have to indulge in other people's games, which is a sigh of relief, right? Because I do feel a sense of weariness over here, but I also can feel your motherly nature. You're very nurturing, so you will always take a bullet onto yourself than to hurt other people, right? Pile number three. And how long will you keep doing this? And when will you allow yourself to have someone who will do that for you? And for you to even maybe attract in the right person, there are certain sacrifices that are called over here. And I think what you're being called to sacrifice is everything you have ever known, whether it be people, places, things, plus your own personal identity. So it does feel like a gamble, honestly, pile number three, where you are right now. But you know you have no choice but to go all in. And you know the only way is through. So again, why waste time? You don't have a lot of time to be indecisive. You have places to be. You have things to do, other things to do than what you're already doing right now, because you know your heart is not in what you're doing right now. You know you want something different. You know you want something more. So don't guilt trip yourself into staying where you are, because that's going to be a real nasty regret for you in the future, pile number three, than not going your own way. Pile number three, what I think you need to do is, like I said, use all this chaos to catapult yourself to where you need to be. And you have the magical power to, again, make all seemingly horrible things that are happening to you, that are going against you, make it work for you. So it's the magician's true mastery over here, right? So don't underestimate your abilities, don't underestimate what you are capable of doing, because I don't think you completely know what you're capable of doing, because maybe you've mastered certain things because you have been doing them for a while. I do get that. But there are other things that you are yet to master, pile number three. I can say that very, very confidently. So don't keep yourself limited. Don't keep yourself stuck. And don't burden yourself with other people's happiness, because it will make you resentful at some point. Pile number three, it's nice to say things like do it with love instead of for love. But then again, we do get weary, right? So accept that. Accept it so you can even accept defeat. Understand that battles are lost in the same spirit that they are won. And sometimes losing a battle is winning the war that you didn't even wage. Pile number three. So are you going to keep burning for other people? Are you going to allow yourself to burn for other people? Or would you rather burn for yourself? And I think you would rather want to burn for yourself. So you can at least come back to yourself and not feel spent the way you are maybe doing right now. So you're literally being called to pull the plug, pile number three. And it's a general reading, but fit it to your situation, whatever it is. Whatever is this thing that has outgrown in your life, what has overstayed its welcome needs to go. And that will set you free. That will again release you from the burden. It will release you from maybe the mental anguish that you are in right now, things that are keeping you stuck, things that are really holding you down. And I do think it's a lot of other people and their expectations. But right now, pile number three, you are on your own journey. You have your own things to worry about. You don't have time for other people right now. So keep that expectation to the minimum. And if people are going to throw a tantrum, you better throw them out of your life. I think that's a very clear message over here, pile number three. So understand, even if there are a lot of distractions, you know where to pull the plug. And sometimes the friction is what is needed to release something, right? Whether it be horrible people in your life. So I'm seeing a lot of red and black, pile number three, and I do think what that reflects is how deeply rooted your insecurities and your root chakra is. right? Because your root chakra is everything to do with stability, it is everything to do with you feeling secure. So the more you cut out the gunk, the more you let go of even the sorrow, that will again help you feel more present in the body, for you to feel more home in your body. Because I do think you feel very alien in your body, and that's not a good sign. Even if you are a star seed, you're not supposed to feel alien in your body. You are here for a reason. Yes, this reality is dense, but you are here for a reason, and you have to learn to adapt. So honestly, pile number three, my advice for you ending the reading is to be extremely selfish right now and to put yourself first and your needs first, because no one is coming to check for you. So why should you go checking for other people right now? And if you truly want to be a giver, you will be in a better place to give. You know you're not in any place to give right now. So just allow yourself the freedom, pile number three. I think that's the message. No more excuses, especially for yourself. Yeah. And my vision is going blank. Anything else I see? So again, this is a general reading. Please take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you like my channel reading, please like this video. Share, subscribe, comment. It means a lot. It helps the channel grow. And if you want to reach out for a private reading, you can definitely do that. My email ID and my Instagram handle are given in the description box below. So you can definitely reach out for a private reading. And I'm also offering a tarot course starting September 13th. So if you are interested in learning tarot from me, definitely send me an email and do go head over to Sarah's channel. Go look at her messages that she's covering from Alice's adventures in Wonderland. Go show her lots of love and go encourage her. Let her know you came from Tarot Yogi, and I will see you guys in the next video.